All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to decode India's 2026-27 Union Budget. And look, this is so much more than just a dry document full of numbers. Think of it as a roadmap, a grand strategy for where the nation is headed. So let's break down the big ideas that are really driving this thing. So when you boil it all down, the budget is really trying to answer one massive question. What's the blueprint for making India a global economic superpower? This document, it's the government's answer. It's their plan. And it's not just for next year. It's looking decades down the road.
The big, overarching vision here has a name, Viksit Bharat. That translates to Developed India, and it's this huge goal they've set for the year 2047. But what's really cool is how they're framing it. They're calling it a Yuva Shakti budget. That means youth power, because they're saying a lot of these big ideas actually came from the country's young people.
Okay, so what's the bottom line? It's all about turning potential into actual performance. You hear that word, potential, thrown around a lot. Well, the goal now is to make it real. They're targeting a pretty ambitious growth rate of around 7%. But, and this is a big but, it has to be inclusive. The idea is that the benefits of that growth need to reach every single citizen, not just a select few.
Now, to pull off a goal that big, you need a solid foundation, right? A core philosophy. And that's exactly what this budget has. It's all built around a framework of 3 guiding duties. So, let's dive in and see what those are.
This whole framework is built on a really interesting concept called kartavya. It's a Sanskrit word that basically means duty or obligation. So this isn't just about, throwing money at problems. It's about a deeper commitment to fulfilling 3 core national duties, which leads to the obvious question, what exactly are they? All right, here they are, the 3 pillars of the whole strategy. Number 1, speed up and maintain economic growth. Simple enough. Number 2, help people reach their own goals by building up their skills and abilities. And number 3, make sure everyone gets a fair shot with access to resources and opportunities. You could say these 3 duties are basically the DNA of every single policy you'll find in this budget.
Okay, philosophy is great, but where does the rubber meet the road? Let's talk about the money. How does this vision actually translate into real spending and actual, tangible projects that you can see and touch? The number that's grabbing all the headlines is, well, it's huge. We're talking 12.2 lakh crore rupees. Just to put that in perspective, that's 12.2 trillion rupees, and it's all going towards public capital expenditure. This is a massive, massive investment in building the country's physical foundation for generations. So where's all that cash going? Well, this is the exciting part. We're talking about some seriously ambitious projects. 7 brand new high-speed rail corridors, 20 new national waterways, new freight corridors just to make trade faster and cheaper. And it's not just the big stuff. They're even getting into really specific projects, like a whole ship repair ecosystem in Varanasi and Patna. The big idea here is to spread the love, developing not just the mega cities, but turning those smaller Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities into economic powerhouses too.
But hang on, it's not all just concrete and steel, roads and railways. The budget is also making some really strategic bets on what they see as the industries of the future. Plus, they're giving a major shot on the arm to small and medium-sized businesses, which are, let's be honest, the real backbone of the economy.
And just look at the diversity here. It's pretty amazing. You've got money going into cutting-edge biopharma. There's a special fund to create what they're calling champion small businesses, a huge push for electronics manufacturing, and even serious investment in green tech like carbon capture. It's like they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. This is a clear bet on having multiple engines to drive growth in the future. And here's something you might not have heard of before. The budget is putting a spotlight on a new booming sector they're calling the orange economy. So what is that? It's basically the creative sector. We're talking animation, visual effects, gaming, and comics. This is a huge strategic bet. The thinking is you've got this massive, young, tech-savvy population, so why not leverage that for a huge global market? And get this, they project it's going to need 2 million skilled professionals by 2030. That's a lot of jobs.
So, beyond the big industries and the billions of dollars, there's a really strong focus on people. And this is where it gets personal. Just look at some of these initiatives. Training 1.5 lakh new caregivers for what they're calling a new care ecosystem. Setting up she-marts to help women entrepreneurs in rural areas. Giving 10,000 tourist guides new skills at iconic sites. Even developing new eco-friendly tracking and birdwatching trails. It's about creating opportunities at a very human level.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about something that I know you care about, because it hits all of us directly: taxes. The budget is rolling out a new Income Tax Act for 2025, and the buzzwords are simplification and making it easier to comply. So the big question is, what does this actually mean for your wallet?
Okay, one of the biggest changes is to something called Tax Collected at Source, or TCS. Now, this is just the tax that gets collected right at the start of certain transactions. And if you look here, you can see that for things like booking an overseas tour package or sending money abroad for education, the rates are being standardized to a flat 2%. For a lot of people, that should mean less cash going out of your account right away.
And here's some potentially good news for anyone who dreads tax season. Filing your returns is about to get a little more flexible. For a lot of businesses, the due date is getting pushed back a month to August 31st. And if you make a mistake and need to revise your return, you've got way more time, all the way until March 31st, the end of the financial year.
Now, if you're active in the stock market, you'll want to pay attention to this. The Securities Transaction Tax, or STT, is going up, specifically for trading in things like futures and options. It seems like a two-pronged move. One, to maybe cool down some of the more speculative trading, and two, to bring in a bit more revenue for the government.
And this next one is a pretty big deal, especially for compliance. They're introducing a new one-time disclosure scheme. Think of it as a kind of olive branch. It gives certain taxpayers a 6-month window to come forward and declare any foreign assets or income they might have forgotten to report before, and they can do it without facing the usual harsh penalties.
So we've looked at the big picture strategy. We've looked at where the money is going, and we've covered the tax changes. Let's pull back for a second. What's the big takeaway here? What's the main story this budget is telling us about where India is headed?
You know, this quote from the finance minister really hits the nail on the head. The whole theme, the core idea, is about taking all that incredible potential and all the hopes of the people and turning it into something real, into tangible achievements and solid economic performance.
When you look at the whole package, what this budget is really trying to do is a delicate balancing act. On one hand, you've got this massive, long-term vision for a Viksit Bharat by 2047. But on the other hand, it's packed with immediate, practical actions, building infrastructure, betting on new industries, and making the tax system just a little bit simpler for everyone.
So there you have it. The roadmap is on the table. It's detailed and it's ambitious. But of course, the billion-dollar question is still out there. Is this specific mix, these huge infrastructure bets, combined with targeted support for people and new industries, is it the right formula to get India to that 2047 goal? Well, the plan is officially in motion, and its success, that's going to be the story we all watch unfold over the next couple of decades. Thanks for tuning in.